So it's fair to say that Jaguar Land Rover right now are not going through the best of times. A long, long way from it, in fact. Now, if you've missed the news, basically the company has had to shut down production because of a cyber attack that has affected them. Now, the origins of this cyber attack are unknown. The UK Parliament has declined to comment as to whether it is a state-sponsored attack. A group of young hackers, a group of teenagers, in fact, have claimed responsibility for this, but whoever has done it, it's still not actually sorted out. They are still basically halted because of that. And this isn't just affecting Jaguar Land Rover, and don't get me wrong, it's really affecting Jaguar Land Rover. Having their production line shut down is a massive cost to the business, but it's also really heavily affecting their suppliers as well, the suppliers of raw materials, the suppliers for parts, everything else in between. It's very much a intertwined web when it comes to this. It's not just Land Rover that it affects, it's also other companies too. And some of these companies now are facing bankruptcy as a result of that. Really, really sad stuff here, guys. Shout out to BBC News and Theo Leggett for covering this story, guys. I thought it was important to just go over this for you because, it's really sad, to be honest, but I think it's important that we highlight this because Jaguar Land Rover are an iconic brand, or two iconic brands, really, I should say, in the world of the automotive scene here in the UK. Let's have a look, guys. The past 2 weeks have been dreadful for Jaguar Land Rover and the crisis at the car market, and the crisis shows no sign of coming to an end anytime soon. A cyber attack, which first came to light on the 1st of September, forced the manufacturer to shut down its computer systems and close production lines worldwide. Its factories in Solihull, Halewood and Wolverhampton are expected to remain idle until at least Wednesday as the company continues to assess the damage. As the time of recording this is Tuesday, so it could come back online tomorrow, but who knows at this point. JLR is thought to have lost at least £50 million so far as a result of the stoppage, but experts say the most serious damage is being done to its network of suppliers, many of whom are small and medium-sized businesses. The government is now facing calls for a furlough scheme to be set up to prevent widespread job losses. David Bailey, who is a professor of business economics at Birmingham Business School, told the BBC, quote, "There's anywhere up to 250,000 people in the supply chain for Jaguar Land Rover, so if there's a knock-on effect from this closure, we could see companies going under and jobs being lost," end quote. Under normal circumstances, JLR would expect to build more than 1,000 vehicles a day, many of them at its UK plants in Solihull and Halewood. Engines are assembled at its Wolverhampton site. The company also has large factories in China and Slovakia, as well as a smaller factory in India. JLR said it closed down its IT networks deliberately in order to protect them from damage. However, because production and its parts supply systems are heavily automated, this meant cars simply could not be built. Sales were also heavily disrupted, though workarounds have since been put in place to allow dealerships to operate. Initially, the car maker seemed relatively confident the issue could be resolved quickly. However, nearly 2 weeks on, it has become abundantly clear that restarting its computer systems has been far from a simple process. It's already admitted that some data may have been seen or stolen as well, and it has been working hard with the National Cybersecurity Centre to investigate the incident. When it comes to that as well, the hackers that I mentioned before, they basically posted screenshots from what were reported to be internal IT systems at JLR, and basically they wouldn't have access to those normally. So yeah, data has almost certainly been stolen as a result. If they've got into that internal IT systems, they will have got personal data, financial data, all that sort of stuff potentially. It is scary stuff really for JLR. Experts say the cost to JLR itself is likely to be between £5 and £10 million per day, meaning it has already lost between £50 and £100 million. However, the company made a pre-tax profit of £2.5 billion in the year end to March. But it's not just the financial problems now, it's also the impact of it later on as well. And from a brand perception point of view as well, it's very bad. They won't go out of business because of this, but it will have a big knock-on effect. And like I said, the suppliers as well going bust, that is a huge problem as well. Because JLR sits atop a pyramid of suppliers, many of whom are highly dependent on the car maker because it is their main customer. They include a large number of small and medium-sized firms which do not have the resources to cope with an extended interruption to their business. Some of them will go bust. I would not be at all surprised to see bankruptcies, says Andy Palmer, who is a one-time senior executive at Nissan and former boss of Aston Martin. He believes that suppliers will have to begin cutting their headcount dramatically in order to keep costs down. Mr. Palmer says you hold back in the first week or so after a shutdown. You bear those losses. But then you go into the second week. More information becomes available. Then you cut hard. So layoffs are either already happening or are being planned. Very sad, obviously. More British jobs going by the wayside. It's the last thing you want, but the businesses have to survive somehow. It's awful, but that's how these things go. And indeed, a boss at one smaller JLR supplier has confirmed that they have already laid off 40 people, which is around half of its workforce. So if that's mirrored in the other ones, you're talking hundreds upon hundreds of jobs at this point. And the article goes into some more detail further on. I mean, yeah, it's just really sad, to be honest. I hope they get back running soon. It's very hard to stop a supply chain like that. It's not an easy feat to do. But then getting it restarted again, that is a whole nother kettle of fish, and it's going to be a massive fallout from this. Right now, this is going to cost them hundreds of millions of pounds, and in terms of the damage to their supply chain as well, that will be potentially irreparable. They're going to have to find new suppliers potentially, and that is something that cannot happen overnight. So JLR are going to lose a lot of money from this, and it's also the reputational damage, like I said before too. But yeah, guys, your thoughts in the comments below on this. A sad day, really, a sad state of affairs at, like I said, an iconic British business, really. It's not what you want. Like, share, comment, subscribe, guys, if you want to see more of this. Have a fantastic day wherever in the world today. See you very soon.